So one thing that I hear a lot about my case is that it's just a civil case. And I get it. Like criminal cases are a big deal. I am not saying that mine is any more important. But to say that I haven't been harmed after a year of verbal, psychological, and emotional abuse by court officials, attorneys, and my landlord, that's pretty insane. Just because my perseverance and principles are stronger than my pain doesn't mean that I'm not being harmed. Civil law exists for a reason. So you don't lose your home, your resources, or your livelihood to someone that is causing you harm. It's how we make them pay for that, literally. And I'm not going to lie, this case is definitely wearing me down. And I know that's exactly what they want to hear. So last Thursday, I made one final effort. I filed a notice of ongoing harm and I stripped out all the legal jargon. So maybe, just maybe, they'd actually hear me as a person. And now I'm going to share a condensed version of that with you. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it so the people who should be doing something, like the General Assembly or Congress, understand that staying silent is being complicit. So I wrote, I submit this notice not as a pro se litigant or a case number, but as a human being. In both of my cases, I've been told by this court, along with defendants in state court and defendants' counsel's filings in this case, that I have not demonstrated sufficient harm. How do you define harm when you know nothing of me beyond the false statements meant to discredit and deflect? How can anyone grasp the extent of one's harm when that harm is dismissed, minimized, or mocked? Was I harmed when I trusted the justice system to protect me after I was forced to report my own father for abuse? Was I harmed when I believed that the right people would step in and they didn't because he had influence? And now, am I being harmed again as that same underlying pattern of disbelief, dismissal, and deference to power has been replicated in this court and in the state court? I moved to North Carolina from Colorado to study genetics. I hadn't been here in over 20 years, but I trusted my landlord and I had no reason not to. I had never set foot in a courtroom before this case. I have no criminal record. I had a spotless 23-year rental history. No filings, no complaints, no evictions. She broke the law. That is a fact. And in return, she blocked access to my housing and damaged my name without a shred of evidence. Is that not harm? I work full-time across multiple companies, but due to the stress and the time and the procedural burdens of this case, I was forced to let one client go. This has directly impacted my income and career progression. I support myself entirely. Is that not harm? I also care for my two service dogs who are like my children, both of whom have serious health conditions. Every dollar I earn goes towards keeping them safe and healthy. That money is now being diverted to cover filing fees, mailing and courier fees, printing costs, and travel expenses just to keep my case moving forward. Is that not harm? The Middle District of North Carolina has a documented pattern of imposing heightened burdens on unrepresented litigants seeking electronic filing access. That demonstrates bias and a guarantee of denial instead of proper review. Yet I have no other court to turn to, as all have demonstrated the same disregard and willingness to violate laws and oaths in order to do so. Is that not harm? This case has taken everything from me. I've become isolated, emotionally wrecked, and physically unwell. Every filing, every email, every response related to this case sends me into a state of panic, while each day of delay fills me with anxiety. Any free time I have is spent writing motions, researching law, and trying to anticipate the next procedural hurdle. Is that not harm? I've been insulted, disregarded, gaslit, and treated as incompetent by judges and officers of the court, including this one. This is psychological abuse. This is emotional abuse, and this is systemic abuse. People are in prison for conduct like this, but yet I've been forced to endure it from those sworn to uphold the law. Is that not harm? Being on the spectrum and having ADHD means I don't process abuse the same way that others might. How am I supposed to understand a system where those who swear the oaths of principle and ethics reward misconduct and bad faith while I'm punished and attacked for doing what is right? Is that not harm? I've invoked ADA regulations in an effort to obtain even the basic level of fairness, but rather than being acknowledged, I've been mocked and dismissed. And now I'm being told more than once that the federal court isn't bound by ADA standards. Whether or not the ADA is legally enforceable in every context, the spirit of accessibility and inclusion should still guide this court's conduct, especially when the judicial conference policy requires it. Denying basic accommodations or even the dignity of procedural clarity, not because it's prohibited, but simply because it's not required by law, reflects a deeper failure of decency. Is that not harm? I imagine each and every one of you in the legal system chose this field because you too once believed in something worth fighting for. Perhaps you've forgotten or become complacent, as often happens in professions like this. But I am not in your position. You cannot beat me into submission simply because I have chosen to represent myself. I know my claim is legitimate. I understand the law. And just because some people are threatened by that does not justify holding me to a higher procedural standard or denying me access to the court. In doing so, is that not harm? I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a caretaker. I am a best friend. I am an advocate. I am a citizen of the United States. I am a person, and I deserve to be treated with dignity and fairness by the officers of a court who has sworn an oath to uphold the law. I am not asking for special treatment. I am not asking for sympathy. I'm asking to be taken seriously, heard through a fair and impartial court. I want justice to function the way that it is intended to, not through procedural gamemanship, mischaracterizations, and biased assumptions, or the protection of personal relationships. I remind each and every one of you, the rule of law is meant to protect the people, not the institution. And let me be clear, neither of my cases represent harm to me alone. They represent harm to the public. When a landlord breaks the law, retaliates, uses power to obstruct justice without consequence, it sends a message to the public that they cannot trust the courts to protect them. When members of the judiciary openly violate the Constitution, especially those who are meant to safeguard it, it threatens not just the individual rights, but the fabric of society itself. There are rare moments when a decision defines not only the outcome of a case, but the integrity of the system, and this is one of them. The responsibility before this court is not just procedural, it is directional. It sets the tone for what is tolerated, what is recognized as harm, and what is allowed to persist. It is about choosing alignment over avoidance, principle over silence. I filed this notice not in protest, but as a final act of faith that this court will choose integrity over inertia and leadership over preservation. The harm I have endured is not only legal, it is personal, psychological, and ongoing. In moments like this, we are asked to decide, do we protect what we've built, or do we honor what is right? I trust that this court and its higher wisdom knows the difference. I trust that time has not yet closed on the door of doing what is just.